Hello, all my friends in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc., and I'm your host, Vita Verdon. It's a cold one today. This is the beginning of January. I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And the subject matter that we're going to open up the curtains on today is the Lake County Health Department. Now, the Health Department is underused and really, we're bringing it out of the decades where the health department, oh, that's just for poor people. We really don't have enough knowledge of where the health department is and how many programs they have and what's available for us. So we're going to have some insights, and this young lady I have with me today has been on the show before, but we only dipped into a little bit, and I think we want to expand on it and go into what some of the programs. So I want you to hurry up and get your coffee, come and sit down, get a paper and pencil, because I've got I try to bring you the best of information on things that'll keep you, alive and healthy in this hour. So pay attention to what you're going to get. I want you to give a warm welcome to Leslie Piotrowski. She was here before, and she did such a nice job. I asked her back. So nice to have you here today,
Thank
Leslie.
Thank you for having me, Vita.
Now, I know you're the communications manager.
Yes.
That's actually your title. So for the benefit of the people that didn't see you before, if you could look right into that camera and give them just a little profile about yourself of who you are and how you got involved with the health department, okay?
Sure. Well, I grew up in Chicago. When I went to college, I was an English major. And after that, I became very interested in public health issues. And one of the things that I did that really changed my life was to join the Peace Corps. And I became a Peace Corps volunteer in the Philippines. This was during the mid-1980s. And I really saw what it's like to live in a society that has no health services whatsoever. I was living on a very remote island. And
where was the island?
It was in the southern part of the Philippines. It's called Negros Occidental.
Oh.
And it was all sugarcane plantations. So I worked with sugarcane laborers and who were making maybe $1 a day in wages. And I worked with them on their families and health and literacy and things like that for the 2 years. So from there, I went to work for an international agency called CARE, which provides relief to countries, developing world countries. And I did a lot of traveling during my years there. But eventually, I heard about the health department. I ended up moving up to Lake County. And I heard about the health department. Yes, I did get married.
And you have any children?
And I have an 18-year-old son who's in college.
Do you want to blow him a kiss right in
there?
there?
Sure. This is to you, Jonathan.
And your son?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you got connected with the Lake County Health Department.
Yes, and that was about 16 years ago. I started working for the health department. The health department started via referendum in 1956. Should I start talking about the history of the health department? It was started by a nurse who saw that there are a lot of health issues in Lake County that weren't being addressed. And she went around from door to door getting signatures for a petition.
God
and
bless
eventually
her.
got all this support together, and the health department was started. Of course, it was very small at that time. It only had a very few staff members. Its headquarters was in Waukegan. Now we've grown to about 1,000 staff, and we have facilities throughout Lake County. I should mention, I'm referring to the Lake County Health Department. There are health departments in most counties, especially in all the counties in the Chicago area.
So you're in Waukegan,
right,
which is
about 45 miles north of downtown Chicago. But there is a health department in Cook County. There's one in Chicago. There's Will County, McHenry County. All of them have their own health departments.
So we're talking from the Waukegan Lake County perspective, because they all vary.
Right,
from
they
county.
do vary. They are very similar in the fact that they all have the same kind of focus. For instance, the health department focuses on preventing diseases, promoting good health, and protecting the environment. all the health departments in the area would focus on the same things, but they have different programs. So while our health department has like an animal care and control program that's working on promoting the health of pets, and some other health departments may not have such a program. It really depends on the community needs.
So in Lake County, they have about 40 programs. And since this show is primarily for seniors, although we have a lot of other younger audience that does watch us, we're going to try to focus on what programs are available for seniors.
Yes.
So could you help us out with that, Leslie?
Since we're at this time of year, flu activity is still low in Lake County, but it's expected to increase and perhaps peak over the next couple of months. So I want to remind everyone that the health department is providing flu shots at its immunizations clinic in Waukegan. And it is, the health department encourages everyone who's over the age of 6 to get a flu shot to help prevent the flu. And the health department also is encouraging everyone to wash their hands as often as possible, because that's one way that, germs spread.
Right.
Yes, so wash your hands, eat healthy foods. If you're sick, don't come to work if you can at all prevent it, because then you want to stay home when you're sick.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a good program. And I know there's other programs like, I know like seniors, a lot of seniors are still smoking, and you have...
Yes. We have a tobacco-free Lake County program. It's all about smoking cessation. We have a cessation counselor who's available for free. You can call the Tobacco-Free Lake County program, which is 847-377-8090, to make an appointment with this cessation counselor.
Okay, give the number one more time and slowly.
Okay, 847-377-8090.
Okay.
And you talk with the counselor, set up a series of appointments with her, and she will provide you with support as you're quitting, because you don't want to quit alone. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, is to quit smoking. You don't want to do it alone. And this counselor will talk with you about your habits, your behaviors, what you can do when you have that urge to smoke, what other things you can do. And she also provides nicotine replacement therapy that you can use during the time that you're quitting.
I know the health department has a series of medical
Yes.
doctors, right?
So the health department is connected to what's called a community health center. The community health center has 6 sites. There's 2 in Waukegan. We're also in Zion, North Chicago, Highland Park, Round Lake Beach. And we provide medical services, we provide dental, we provide diabetes prevention, and we provide WIC programming as well.
What I'd like to talk about a little bit is the payment system,
Yes.
how it's evaluated. Could you
Yes,
explain
sure.
that to our
So
audience?
the health department doesn't turn anyone away, even if they can't afford our programs. But what they do is, let's say you're on a very limited income, you would go to the health department, meet with one of our staff, show your proof of income, and you would be charged on what's called a sliding fee scale. So depending on what your income is, your charges would reflect that. So if you hardly have any money at all, you would be paying a minimal amount.
Oh, so if you're on Medicaid, you wouldn't be paying anything.
But if you're on Medicaid, that's a whole nother issue where you wouldn't be paying.
You wouldn't be
Medicaid,
paying anything.
Right.
But if you're on a low income, it's dependent on your income, right?
Right. It's totally dependent on your income.
And so there's dental services.
Yes, we
and
provide
there's
dental.
any kind of medical services.
Yes.
Also, I think you mentioned there is something for mental.
Yes, so we have a behavioral health services.
And what is a behavioral health service?
So that's where we provide programs, for instance, outpatient mental health, where we provide counselors in both Waukegan and the Libertyville area. So if you have depression or other issues that are affecting your life and your health, you can come to the health department and meet with a counselor. But we also have, let's say you're in crisis and you're severely depressed, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you feel like you need to talk to someone right away, you can just pick up the phone and call 847-377-8800.
Okay, say that again.
You know what? I don't think I got that number right. Can I look it up really quickly?
Okay,
I'm sorry.
While you're looking that up, what I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to Vita's Pearls of Wisdom. Now, in my Pearls of Wisdom, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to my website, because on the website it's going to tell you all the areas in which the show is seen, and the website is seniorissuesetc.org. And if you go on there, on the first page of the website, you'll find all the places that the show is seen, and in all the places that the show is seen, then you can scroll down and you can see at the bottom of the page a link for the shows, and you can see I've got about 40 shows online, and you can see any of the past shows or shows that you've missed. And also, one thing I'd like to talk to you about is that seniors, I had a fall. I've had a couple bad falls. I want you to check around your apartment, and if you have any loose rugs or that, they see that they have a backing behind them, like I don't have any loose rugs in my apartment. And if there's anything in your pathway of walking, a place that you really have to have it lit up at night is if you get up and go to the bathroom at night, that there's a perfect path to your bathroom, that there's either a light or there's no obstacles in the way, because falls are so bad during this time. And going outside, you really have to be careful in this weather. Like today, I noticed coming to the studio that there's little patches of ice, and that black ice, sometimes you can't hardly see it because it's covered by snow. So don't take a chance. One thing I'm always recommending is if you need a cane for certain times like this. Now, where I had bought a folding cane was at Walgreens. And I think they're relatively cheap. What I paid was less than $20 for mine. At this time, I'm still using a walker because I just got out of the nursing home like a month and a half ago. But I want you really to be careful, because it's our responsibility to avoid it. And our goal is to live forever. I'm always preaching that. So I want you to stay on top of things. And any spare newspapers or that, get them. I know when I had the fireman on the show, I said, what is one of the worst scenarios that you saw? He said, well, one of the worst scenarios is this man was putting his old newspapers in the oven, and one day he lit the oven, and of course the whole thing went up in flames. So, having those spare newspapers around, be sure, and because right now at this time people are using space heaters. So the space heaters give out heat, and if you have paper or cardboard or even blankets around them that are flammable, you just really have to be careful with them. So it's your responsibility to take care of yourself and see that everything is safe around you. And another thing is to put all your medication out, and put it out at a time that you know that you have to take it, because taking the wrong medication at the wrong time in the wrong amount is just as bad as taking no medication. So when you're at home, in the nursing home, they hand you all your medication, but when you're at home, you're responsible for your medication. So as we are living longer, we have to learn these tips that we have to watch for, what is dangerous for us, how we can stay healthy for a longer time, and show those that are coming after us what to do, give them out these health tips. That's why I have the health department here today. all these services are available. So I want you to take down this information and see if there's something that you can use to keep yourself in a healthy state. We have a lot more material to go over, and I know Leslie's going to come back now and give us the correct number, which we're so happy to record, and she's going to give you the number twice. Okay.
Those are wonderful public health messages. You're making my job easier. And I apologize for giving the wrong number. The number for the crisis care program is 847-377-8088. And I just wanted to mention there's this
No, I want to hold it with you.
Okay.
I want to show that this is a little book that Leslie had, and she's going to tell you what it is, and it's available to you. You should get one.
Yes. This is a free booklet. It includes a description of all the 40 or some odd programs that the health department provides to the community. It's available you can find it on our website, which is health.lakecountyil, that's all one word, .gov, or you can call us at 847-377-8000 and order a free copy. We'll send it to you.
The telephone number one more time to get the directory.
847-377-8000. And this directory has the phone numbers of all of our programs, and you see how I still use this to get the phone numbers. So once you have it, you can go through it and you'll see the wide array of programs that the health department does provide to the community.
Well, one thing that I found interesting as you and I talked is expanding on what the health department does. I think I'd like you to tell our friends out there about what they do in restaurants.
Yes.
Because that's important.
Yeah, my sense is that the health department in some way or another touches every single citizen in Lake County. So if you've ever gone to a restaurant, the health department has impacted you because we inspect 3,000 food facilities in Lake County. And when I say that we inspect, what I mean is that we have staff who go into restaurants between 1 to 3 times per year. We go depending on how large the restaurant is and how many services that it provides. So the large restaurants we'd go to 3 times a year, whereas if it's a little store connected with a gas station, maybe we'd go once a year. But our inspectors go in, they follow the cooks around, the staff around, see how they're cooking the food. They take thermometers, they take the temperature of the food, and their overall goal is to prevent foodborne illness outbreaks in Lake County because we don't want to have people getting sick.
Right.
And which is, every year people do get sick from eating at restaurants. Unfortunately, that happens every year. But we can prevent large outbreaks where you have 50 people getting sick if a restaurant knows the correct process for cooking food. And we're basically looking at 3 things. We're looking at, we're making sure that a restaurant does not have cross-contamination. That's where they're like using a knife to cut raw meat and they don't wash the knife and then they start cutting the vegetables. So then there's a possibility of contamination. We're looking at the hygiene of the restaurant and whether the staff are constantly washing their hands. That's really important to wash your hands, and you should wash your hands for 20 seconds, not just a quick, just sort of getting your hands wet. And as I mentioned, we're looking at the overall hygiene of the restaurant to see that it's clean and that sort of thing. So, and we're also looking at the temperature of the food. So our inspectors are testing the temperature and making sure that it's the right temperature. Because if you leave food out too long, it can go bad. It can. Right. So there are very specific rules about how long you can leave food out before it needs to be refrigerated.
Well, I know outside of the restaurants, they also have dabble in all the lake systems.
Yes. So Lake County, we're very fortunate to have more than 200 lakes. A lot of these are recreational lakes. We're swimming and boating in these lakes. And over time, unfortunately, some of our lakes are polluted. And so the health department has a lakes management program that works with the municipalities or the homeowners associations where the lakes are located. Our staff will go in and do surveys and study the lakes. They bring in different kinds of equipment to test the lake.
So
then
they
they'll
kind of shine a floodlight
Yes.
and bring it to the public's attention
Right.
if there's something really
There's a
dangerously
problem,
going on.
and then they will come up with a plan for how the health department with the community is going to work to correct the problems of the lakes. And in addition to the restoration of the lakes, we have a program where during the summer we go to the beaches of Lake Michigan, like every morning at something like 5 a.m. We'll take samples of the water, bring them back, and test the samples for the E. coli level of the water. And if the E. coli level is too high, which unfortunately that does happen at some of our beaches every year, then we will close the beach for that period of time, whether it's one day or a couple days, until the E. coli level goes back down again. So we are there throughout the summer making sure that the beaches are safe for people to swim.
And I know outside of the senior programs and what they're doing in the lakes and the beaches and the restaurants, you have other programs too that we're just dipping into a little bit. I know you have a prenatal care.
Yes,
right?
we have prenatal care, we have pediatrics programs, we have diabetes prevention. The main number to call if you're interested in medical or dental, and I'll get this one right this time, 847-377-8800.
One more time, Leslie.
847-377-8800. So that's for our medical programs. But another program that I wanted to bring up, because I know a lot of senior citizens have pets. So we have an animal care and control facility that's located in Libertyville. And a lot of people think of, animal care and control, well, those are the dog catchers who go out and they catch the dogs. So we do so much more than that. And one of the programs that's been very successful is our low-cost pet vaccination clinics. So between the spring and the fall of every year, we go to numerous Lake Counties, locations
like
throughout
parks?
Lake County. Yeah, to park districts, or we sometimes go to police departments, that's right. And we'll from 9 to
now,
noon.
could they call in and find out what dates these are so
Yes.
that they can bring their pets?
So that number is 847-377-4700. You can call that number and find out what the schedule will be for this year. And the low-cost pet vaccinations are very well priced, and they provide distemper and rabies shots, and also microchipping for your pet. The microchipping is only like $15, so it's not expensive at all.
Well, another program that I think we haven't touched on is, I know that you go into schools.
Yes. So we do have our prevention programs where we will go into schools and we work with the students, especially teenagers, and encourage them to not smoke, to not start smoking, to not start drinking. We have, for instance, one of the programs is at Zion Benton High School, and our focus is on letting students know that, let's say, that very few people actually smoke at Zion Benton High School, because teenagers tend to think, oh, everybody's smoking, so I might as well do it as well. But we are promoting the positive messages that in actuality, not that many high school students are smoking. And then we have posters, and we have different promotional programs to reach students on an ongoing basis.
And I know in some of your programs, isn't there a need for volunteers?
Yes, so that goes back to,
would be?
Yes. As I mentioned, our Lakes Management Program, we are always looking for volunteers. We need volunteers who are very interested in the lakes by where they live, to volunteer, which would mean going out, like if you have a boat, to go out once a week or more on your boat, and the health department will actually train you to use certain equipment that's actually very easy to use. And you would record data for the health department to ensure that that lake is still healthy and it continues to be healthy.
Well, now, does this require a training program?
There is training for the Lakes Management Program, and I should mention another program that's also very popular. It's called our Medical Reserve Corps.
Now, what does that consist of?
That is for people who are interested in emergency preparedness. And so if there is
What
some
is
kind of...
emergency preparedness?
Okay. It's, the health department is, if there is an emergency that involves public health, the health department would be a lead player in responding to that emergency situation. So let's say, now for tornadoes and things, that's not necessarily the health department. That would be the county as a whole. But let's say there's a public health crisis where there's a terrorist attack using some kind of chemical agent like anthrax. Then we would be the first, we'd be first responders. And people, all of the residents of Lake County would be asked to go to their polling place. So there's like over 100 polling places throughout Lake County, and we have a system that's in place already. That's where we would provide staff to every single polling place, and we would provide the medications needed.
So what would the volunteers do?
The volunteers would be helping with that whole effort. So we would want people with medical backgrounds, but we would actually want anyone could volunteer to be part of the Medical Reserve Corps, because we need people to collect data, we need people to help set up our sites, we need all kinds of help.
Well, okay, so you have two different programs. So when the person calls in, do they call in for any program, or do they take a profile on them, what program they would fit into?
So they could call our general number, which is 847-377-8000.
One more time.
847-377-8000.
Okay.
And tell the receptionist that you're interested in either our Lakes Management Program, and they'll connect you to the right person, or in our Medical Reserve Corps. And
Or they might just say they want to volunteer.
Or you can say they can volunteer and just say what your interests are, and they would try to find a program that needed volunteers.
Now, you have been on the job for quite a while, and I know you have learned up, you have stored up a lot of knowledge, like about the job. Now, what kind of gratification do you get? Where does your passion lie in the job? What is it doing for you that you have such enthusiasm about the job?
Well, as I mentioned, I was in the Peace Corps serving for 2 years, and I worked with very impoverished families in a community where there was very little public health. There were no doctors, there was no health net, so that if you were ill, that you had very few options. And so I'm just so grateful to the public health system in the United States. I'm so grateful to be living in the United States and being able to work in public health, where I feel like the health department I work for provides a great deal of assistance and help to many people. And that's what makes me very passionate about my job.
So I want you to look into that camera for volunteers and tell them if it's done this for you, it could do that for them. It will lift their spirit too.
So if you are passionate about wanting to help others, passionate about public health, I would say please give the health department a call, because it's very gratifying. Public health is a wonderful place to work. And if you're interested in helping people, then please call the health department.
Now, we've brought you a lot of very vital information. Now, it's been brought to you just like this, just for free. Now, you should take advantage of it, either become a volunteer or utilize one of these programs, because that is you fitting into the system and feeding back to the system, and that's what it's all about. And you know what time it is now? When you out there come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and you hang on. You hang on, because what I want you to do this week is to catch the spirit, because the best is yet to come. Catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you.